bit of brown also. Darker, darker, darker. And then re-wet this. Even as I'm doing it, I'm thinking, is this a good idea or not? Is this a stupid idea? Am I overworking it? And it just gives it a little something. And you can just like pour it down the page a bit. There. While that's all in this semi-wet state, you can get a thirsty brush and then you can kind of pull out some lighter areas. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's humiliating and it doesn't work. Humiliating. It's not the right timing. But yeah, overall it's not too bad. That's the kind of stuff you might see. So yeah, it's all good. I'm gonna just, while this is all dry now, so I'm gonna take some of that off. Don't need it on anymore. Any more for any more? There's some there. Do I need anything there? I might just leave it. And I can just define that edge with a bit of pencil. Just to make it sort of pop. Same here. Look. Go on, go on. And a bit down there. Oh, that's masking fluid as well. Some people stick some coloured ink in their masking fluid and then it sort of shows them what they're doing more. Yeah, there's some bits of like icy area here that I may or may not do something about, so I just can't decide at the moment. This channel should be called Watercolour Procrastination or something like that. I'm just looking at that foliage there and thinking it might be quite nice to match that over this side. In which case I need to mix some more of it up. So we start with the the yellow. Going in like that. Not a whole lot of water on the brush, and then got some of that. That was Payne's Grey, and then I'm like changing it slightly with some brown. And then let's just load up the sponge. Trying to find, let's see how this comes out. Part of the sponge that sort of makes sense. Yeah, that's all right. Bit more. You quickly run through your paint like this. And you think, should I have mixed even more? So, yes, gonna do an even darker one. Oh, that way up. That way is good. Don't overdo it though. And then we kind of assess it and check against the other bank, see what it's looking like. It can be sort of darker at the bottom really. And then I'll stop quick while I'm behind. Candle also is go and put in a few little branches and whatnot, just to kind of liven it up while I'm deciding about other things in the picture. I'm just using some of the boat hull colour, which is basically burnt umber. And then a quick practice. Just kind of flicking upwards and trying to get bigger in perspective as I get closer to the edge. Where's that colour gone? There it is. A couple more. Some of it I liked, some of it I didn't like, but whatever. And then I've got to think about that that fence post there as well. Now you'd think that that would be kind of the same brown colour. In the actual picture, it's a kind of yellowy green. Seem to have lost half my brushes while there it's gone. There it is. Oh, this has still got some green on it. what I'm going to do is have a kind of maybe a yellow side to it, like, oh, that's too green. Okay, maybe I'll try the quinacridone gold, which is this amazing colour from Daniel Smith. Yeah, like that. So I'll just following it all the way down. And then we want a sort of darker version, so the same colour but with some brown in it. Burnt umber, that is. Here we go. I've got to let some of it bleed in and some of it be separate. Because, you know, canals have sort of old stuff that doesn't look pristine, and so we're sort of keeping that spirit. Noticed I've got a bit of a bleeder there. What shall I do? Shall I panic about it? I could. I will clean this brush. And then fix that when it's dry, maybe. Clearly that paper was still a bit wet. Maybe this is a good time to pause. I've decided I want to put a bit more of the building colour into this area here. So I'm wetting, re-wetting. I had actually let this dry. And I've got this mixture of quinacridone gold. I'm just going to like get some of the moisture off it and drop this in. Fade it out with the hake. And I think I'm going to go up here and just strengthen this stuff as well. It's really about just trying to make sense of what we've got here. So where does it start? About there. like that. Maybe just change this slightly. It's like more of an angle. And maybe needs to be slightly more in there as well, if that's still... No, that's dried. Let's wet that. And I can just take this off while I'm waiting, the masking fluid. Just debating whether to do more with this water down here or not. There's always a danger that you overwork something in watercolour. I'm just looking around here, shall I do something here or not? It's always risky. Sometimes you just got to stand back from it and think, oh, is that good? Is it not good? What do I think about it? Yeah, killing some of that. It's there. This should really, I think, be like the blue shadow colour, which is a sort of winey colour, which is ultramarine, and it's also crimson alizarin. But I want a kind of weaker version of it than I've got on the path there. So I'm just fading some of it out. So I'm just going to do vertical stripes of water down here. I'm going to do a little touch of it. Just around the edge of that ice. Yeah, that's all right. Some of that same colour just across here. And if you're not happy with the kind of colour value of something, it's too dark, there is a way of reducing that. I'm just putting some clear water on a little flat brush. And I'm just going to wet it that reactivates the paint, and then I just go pow like that. And it's just sort of kind of ages it a bit. I'll put there. Just redefine that edge. And then you stand back from it and you say, well, has it fixed it? Has it broken it? Sometimes it's a bit of both, it's just changed it. You have to remember it's going to dry lighter as well. What I can do is just sort of match up slightly on this one. There we go. If you mess around with anything too much, it just is ruined in watercolour. And you wish you hadn't. So I'm going to leave that and then have a think about it again. Okay folks, next thing I'm going to do is to look at the bit around the fence here. Sorry, excuse me a minute. I've mixed up some more of this dark brown and blue, and I've got a kind of dryish hake brush here, and what I'm going to do is something like this. I don't want to go crazy with it, but I have to have something in just to indicate that this is where people walk. And you know me, I like to knock it back slightly. So it's not quite so much, if you see what I mean. Anyone who's walked along a canal knows that the canal paths do kind of get like this. Just maybe the foreground a bit as well. I'm doing a kind of inner sort of Z shape here just to define it. I also have a secret weapon which involves a toothbrush, and I'm going to spatter some toothbrush paint to just kind of get some pebbly effects, and it just brings everything together. You'll notice that while the camera was off, some people have sneaked in to the background here, and I've got to just put them in. So people practice time. I do them kind of like like a sort of carrot shape like Frank Clark used to teach. Something like that. I just want to make sure I don't have crazy amounts of paint or a random blob that's going to come and kill it all. Remember, you're not really painting people, you're just painting shapes. And then it's not as scary. Ooh, they're holding hands. Nice. I'm just going to give a tad of red just into them. And if it's too much, you can then do a bit of green. And one of them, I'm just going to take a little bit off there and try again. This one's maybe just blue. These are gongoozlers. They're looking at canal boats. That's the word, gongoozler. And they're just sort of looking with envy at this boatyard over here and the for hire boats. And they're thinking, wow, we could be on holiday there. So suddenly you put some people in and it changes the feel of the picture. And what I'm now going to do is just get my magic toothbrush. And what I'm going to do is mix up some general crap. There'll be a few different colours, but mostly it'll be a kind of muddy brown. Let's see what that's like. And I'm just going to mask off and just spatter a little bit along here to make it believable that this is a canal path. There might be a slightly different colour up in the bushes. It's just to give it a bit of life. Always making sure that you mask it well. But remember, it's just a technique and people can spot techniques if they're not used well enough. And you can just decide to lose a couple of the little pebbly bits, or you can keep them. It's up to you. It introduces a slight amount of movement feeling into the painting if you do something like this. But at the same time, there's a kind of pristine feel around here. So I don't want to go wild with it, but there are definitely little bits and blobs here and there. Maybe just a couple in here. Don't panic if some of it goes up here, because you can always take it out with your bit of paper. Time to stand back and assess it and have a think. And am I going to do anything else or call it quits? I just did a couple of drop-ins of a bit of scarlet colour into the water, and then I realised that I hadn't done anything about the tunnel lamp for this barge here. How's he going to get through tunnels unless we highlight his lamp. So this is using quinacridone gold, which is like my favourite colour. That's it. Notice I've got a few hairs that have crept on from this goat's hair hake, and those will have to be dealt with. I'm also having a little think about this area here, whether I want to put some of the blue from the bow end of the boat in a kind of downward streak. Don't want to get too literal with all these reflections though, so I'm wetting it and then squeezing out a lot of the water. The hake is pretty soft, so it doesn't actually disrupt the underlying paint when you re-wet the paper. And then I'm just going to drop in. And it's tilted a bit and tidy it up a bit. And then that's really is just stop what you're doing, Dan. Stop messing with it. And maybe I'll call this one finished. I have to sign it somewhere, but I tend to not sign them until I've actually got the mount ready and decided exactly where the mount's going to go and stuff. So there we have it. It's been really fun having you here. Take care. Bye.